Park Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through the Scott Nason YouTube channel. You may have also been directed through our social media pages at the Game Sports Show on Facebook or at the Game Sports Show SSM on our newly launched Instagram page. I'm here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill for the January the 9th, 2019 edition of the Game Sports Show, and we're here for its famous 75-cent wing nights here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Great atmosphere, great food, great service all around. The best wings in town, best pizza in town. As I sit here staring at a Italian pizza, I like to call it. Pepperoni, hot peppers. Definitely delicious here at Sportscenter. If you want wings, pizza, food, anything of sorts, or some delicious beverages as well available, and some great service as well with the great staff, and obviously with Frank Lagore here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Make SportsCenter a part of your night when possible. And if you haven't been to SportsCenter, you need to make sure that you do get your rear end here to Sportscenter. I want to say thank you to Scott Nason. He's going to be our board operator here tonight, as always. I'm here alongside Justin Hykel and Jamie Antonello, Coach Jamie Antonello, here on the Game Sports Show. We have lots to talk about here on the Game Sports Show, let me tell you. And we're getting started a little bit later tonight. It's around 10 p.m. here on Wednesday. So if you have time to come on down and visit us, you can do so. Or if you want to comment on anything below to ask questions to myself or Justin or Jamie, just comment below on the Podbean page or through the website. So tonight here on the Game Sports Show, before I bring in the fellas, going to get through the usual introduction portion of the game, we are going to be talking about NCAA college football with Clemson, Alabama, and we're going to be talking about the National Football League playoffs. The wild card games just completed last weekend, and it was absolutely stunning, to say the least. And if you're a Bears fan, I'm extremely sorry. Let me tell you, I'm very, very sorry. And if you're a Colts fan like Justin is, you're literally getting the parade ready because you're all sorts of excited. It was a great playoff matchups last week, and it was. And going to this week, I'm even more excited for sure. There'll be some great matchups that were aligned. And we're talking about the playoff brackets that we're going to mention on a bit later. God, I think some people's brackets are perfect. Some people's aren't perfect. But myself, Justin, and Jamie, after we talk about NCAA football, we're going to talk about the wild card games. And then when we take a break, we're going to come back and talk about the upcoming games this upcoming weekend. And we're going to cap off the show talking a little bit of Toronto Raptors basketball as well, and potentially other topics if we have enough time to do so. Nathan Inch will not be by here tonight, as Intercontinental Inch is in Punta Cana doing his choke slams and his people's elbows in Punta Cana. But I was told by Nathan when he does return in his first week back, he will be on the Game Sports Show. So all you listeners that are curiously waiting for Intercontinental Inch to come on, we will have him on very, very soon, hopefully next week or the following week. Without further ado, let me bring in the fellas here. I got both of them, both good-looking men right in front of me, Justin and Jamie. Justin supporting his Indianapolis Colts hat, Jamie supporting his Cora Colts sweater. NASA OFSA champions, junior, senior, successful year of Cora, Indianapolis Colts in the playoffs, going to the second round. This life is good if you're a Colts fan in general. And Sault Ste. Marie in the National Football League. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in Jamie first. Jamie, how you doing, sir? And SportsCenter, busy and great as always, don't you think?
Absolutely. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I love I love throwing you under the bus, as we all know. Okay. I love when you brought in, you said we have our good Italian pizza as opposed to the other kind of pizza that you would have. But, you know. Cora Colts, that's all I have.
Hawaiian pizza?
It's still pizza, Dave. Okay. Pizza. Okay. Pizza by definition is Italian. I only own Cora Colts gear now. That's all I own.
What about your underwear?
No, not quite to that level.
Okay.
I do have Cora socks somehow, though.
Do you actually?
I actually do. They have a big K on them. But
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I own. But
I like it.
No, I mean, I'm excited to talk about Clemson putting a butt whooping on Alabama. Yeah. I'm going to have a lot to talk about with that. And then The only game I got right in the first round was Indy, and I mean, I'm happy I got that right, but otherwise my bracket's toast. I'm just hoping that New Orleans can keep it going and I get my Super Bowl prediction right.
Justin, you're here on the second straight Wednesday. I know why you're here, especially because you want to talk about the Indianapolis Colts moving on to the second round. I want to say thank you to the beautiful Alicia White for bringing me my beverage. It's fantastic.
Easy.
Justin, Jamie threw me under the bus there first off, and I'm Italian and say he's got a good point, but I threw out the point Hawaiian pizza, but I guess it is still a pizza. And at the end of the day, Justin, you're here. You look beautiful as always. Nice trim beard. Did you trim your beard? No. It looks nice. And wearing your signature hat while on air and your signature sweater. You either have a gray, brown, black, or white sweater on. I love getting detail with you because it makes you laugh. Justin, thanks for coming by tonight here, sir. How you doing?
I mean, you make it sound like I have this vast wardrobe, but I wear the same three things. Yeah. Like a variation of the same hat. Either it's a toque or a hat with the same logo on it, depending on the sports season.
Oh yeah,
they're all blue and white.
Yeah, everything is blue and white. Most of what I own is blue, white, or brown.
Just like he owns Cora stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I did luck out with both my favorite teams being the same color. I guess that's, the downside to that though is that with what is it? The home jerseys or the away whatever the all whites are. I can't on both teams. I can't eat chicken wings.
No, you're screwed.
I can't own a home and away jersey. I can only have one or the other.
Put a bib on.
Put a bib on.
How long have you known me and known where I get food when I'm eating? Around, in or around my face or my lap. That's how it works.
This might be one of the best introductions we've had here.
We're all over the place.
At SportsCenter, I almost choke on my pizza.
Italian pizza.
That Italian pizza. Now, I thought on Sunday, and you can listen to previous editions of the Game Sports Show on the Game sportshow.podbean.com or on the GameSportsShow.com. Myself, Brad, Coach Emilio was at Icebreakers on Sunday. Great show with my Brad and myself. Last week we had Northern Superior Edition, myself, Justin, and Dane. Then obviously Jamie, myself, and Justin at SportsCenter here last week. We're not the Wake Assistant Shows. Upcoming Monday, we're finally back. The Wake Assistant been off for about a month or so. And why I bring up those previous shows, not just because I want to promote them and for the listeners to listen to them. This is fantastic. But on Sunday, myself and Brad figured that we had the best mic situation hooked up. Now, people that may become live may understand when this show started 4 years ago, we used a phone for recording. It then expanded to using a microphone. We then used that microphone to give back to where I was working, borrowed another microphone, and we uploaded a show that was extremely inappropriate. It caught every piece of background noise. We then upgraded that microphone to go back to the phone. I got a new cell phone, increased the microphone. Definitely props to Samsung. Now, Tree, listener, been on the show sometimes, gave us a beautiful microphone that we've been using for over the past calendar year. And then, we get some equipment from the radio station that we use from time to time as well. We've upgraded our gear, headsets or other microphones. But on Sunday, we went to Icebreakers. I decided, because I couldn't get the headsets or use the typical recording equipment that we usually have here on the Game Sports Show, to use the microphone that Tree had for us and use the other microphone and plug it in. And so Brad can have a mic and myself can have a mic. Now, what I just realized today is that this whole time on Sunday, Brad's microphone was not even fucking recording.
You had a placebo mic.
But you still caught Brad. You still heard him clearly because we were in the quiet confines of the VIP room of Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill. So there was no issues with the upload, thank God, because it was a fantastic show, of course, as all the shows here on the Game Sports Show. So the reason why I bring up the mic thing is just because it's funny, first off. And what are we using tonight? We're using the microphone that Tree have for us because it's the best mic. We don't have the usual headsets or the radio equipment. Here at SportsCenter, we like to use the standard mic because it's a table setting. Now, people who are in the podcasting business or broadcast will understand that using a microphone is very important to get clarity. We had the same kind of microphone that they use on Spit and Chicklets with Paul Bissonnette and with Ryan Whitney. It's the same thing. Literally the same thing. We just have a different colored one. Paul has a white one. We have a black one. Now, the reason why I want to bring up the microphone here, fellas, is because we spent 25 minutes before this broadcast I wanted to convince you guys how good this microphone was that I hooked up on Sunday, how genius I was. And at the end of the day, it just didn't work out.
I mean, For the listeners out there, to put it in perspective, it was plugged into the headphone jack.
Ouch.
It's an in, not an out, Dave.
I have so much I'm thinking in my head right now with you saying that. A lot in my head right now. I'm not even gonna say it because it's kind of inappropriate. No, I'll keep it. Yeah, keep it.
The show down again.
Yeah, no, I don't. Church stories, but I don't even know. But fellas, we got a show to talk about here, right? Upcoming shows at the Game Sports Show. Myself, Justin, Dane will be at Northern Superior Brewing Company on Thursday, and we will be at Icebreakers on Sunday. Myself and Brad, hopefully Justin and Dane can potentially make it for that as well. Next Monday, Wicked Sister, as I mentioned, myself and Scott Nason, Butch Davis, and EJ Russell at 6 p.m. live on Eagle 95.1, proud sponsor and partner of the Game Sports Show. And a lot of excitement there with Eagle that I'm going to be announcing throughout this month. So they're going to be enhancing some towers and might even be bringing stuff to the right area to expand the show and expand their listener quality. That's enhancing everything. But Jamie, I can't spoil that too much because everyone knows that knows me knows I have a mouth on me. I need you to tell me, update me, report to me. NCAA College Football Championship, Clemson defeating Alabama, the evil empire, the Saban empire, whatever you want to call it, one of the best dynasties ever in college football. Or even, I don't even know if we want to go sports, but at the end of the day, Clemson gets the win. Talk about the NCAA Finals matchup. Myself and Justin will chime in. Then we're going to jump into the wild card matchups in the NFL.
Yeah, so, I mean, Monday night was quite a matchup. Spicy for sure. You're looking at the two teams. I mean, it was part 4. They played each other the last 3 seasons in the college football playoff format. First 2 years were in the national championship game, and then last year in the semifinal. But, I mean, it was not a David Goliath thing at all. I think Clemson's put themselves on the map and earned it. But the thing and for those of you that didn't watch the game, spoiler alert, but Clemson beat their crap out of Alabama. 44-16 was the final. And for anybody that's ever seen the movie The Replacements, there's a famous scene where Shane Falco's talking about his fear on the football field being quicksand. And how no matter how much you struggle in a game, things just won't go your way, and the harder you struggle, the worse it goes. That's kind of what happened to Alabama here a little bit. They came out okay. Tua looked sharp on his first 3 passes of the game, and then he had a really bad ball, and it was a pick 6. At one point, Alabama was tripling Clemson in time of possession. I think it was 28 minutes to like 11 minutes, and Clemson had already had 3 touchdown drives of under 2 minutes. And no matter what they did, and even there was a point in the third quarter where Tua got stopped trying to scramble on a 4th and 4 on like Clemson's 10-yard line. He got stopped a yard short. And I've seen he struggled. He broke a couple tackles. He did everything he could to get that first down and just couldn't do it. They were getting swallowed up. Alabama has a very, very young secondary. So don't you think that Alabama is destroyed? The evil empire isn't gone. It's kind of a won the battle but not going to win the war type deal here. I honestly think Clemson and Alabama could potentially play each other again in the next 2 national championships. And it could depend on – I literally think it could depend on whether or not Tua comes back for his senior season. But Trevor Lawrence, man, true freshman quarterback, he's the real deal. And I know not everybody's a football junkie, but if you're aware what the Elite 11 is, Trent Dilfer puts on – and along with a team of coaches and experts, it's basically the elite quarterbacks across the country that are going into their senior season of high school, getting recruited, and he takes 24 quarterbacks, narrows it down to the Elite 11. They go through a series of trials, tests, whatever, and then they play in a 7-on-7 tournament at Nike headquarters in Oregon. The best wide receivers, best running backs, best DBs, best linebackers across the country get to come. It's a great showcase, but I watch the Elite 11 every year. I'm a junkie for it. And Trevor Lawrence was the consensus number 1 guy. He tried to commit to Clemson when he was a grade 9, and they wouldn't let him. And it's actually the reason why he signed at Clemson, because Dabo Swinney told him that he doesn't sign grade 9s. You have to prove yourself. if you haven't played a game of high school football yet, you can't root. I'm not going to sign you. But getting back to the game. So Trevor Lawrence, phenomenal game. Everybody was waiting for him to have that freshman moment this season, and he didn't at all. And if it was going to happen at one point, I mean, biggest stage, he just seemed to be calmer. He completed touchdown passes on a 3rd and 8 and a 3rd and 13. Unbelievable. Alabama had a busted coverage on one, and he threw a beautiful ball on another. I mean, Justin Ross, true freshman wide receiver for him, had 2 of the best catches I've seen in recent memory. They just beat them down. I mean, defensively, they swarmed them. Their D-line, their depth was the big thing. Alabama did not have a ton of depth on defense. They were missing a few starters. And I think
Dane had some injuries, too, in the secondary. They got burned on a touchdown big time. I forgot who it was went down there, but it looked like calf strain. He went down, and they got burned on that. That was a big touchdown there. And I mean, to me, the one stat that really stood out is Alabama pounded the ball.
Yeah.
Like it was almost 130 some yards, I think, and Clemson had 40 maybe. I found that stat astonishing, given the fact that I think that was halfway through the third quarter when that was the numbers, and Clemson was ahead by I think 3 touchdowns at that point in the game already. Like, they had it in hand. And the one thing that kind of bugs me right now is there are probably teams in the NFL that would draft Trevor Lawrence this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not sure. This just kind of crossed my nose here while I was waiting to just reading some sports stuff. But it looks like he has to play another 2 years of college ball before he's eligible to be in the NFL. Like, does he not kind of get hosed where he could be leaving money on the table?
Potentially, yeah.
With an injury or, other players looking at a guy like this, taking shots at him, and you don't want to, wish anything bad on a player, but a guy like this could be a team-changing NFL prospect, and you almost want to get him in there up to the next level sooner rather than later.
Yeah, no, and to your, the immediate thing you think about is basketball. Is look at how many one-and-done guys you have in the NBA. Those guys get paid, you get to go, and that's the worry. And the way Clemson uses their quarterback, even Trevor Lawrence, who is the most prototypical pocket passer, he fits the mold. He's 6'6", 215. You think he's the pocket passer, but he ran the ball really well. He ran it hard, and that's just kind of part of Clemson's system. And I think that's a part of calling a good offense, to be honest. Your quarterback has to be kind of a threat now at this point. You're seeing it in the NFL now finally, where that's becoming more of the trend. And even not necessarily, it doesn't have to always be called quarterback design runs. But Aaron Rodgers comes to mind. You think a pocket passer, but has that elusiveness. And obviously in the NFL, most recently Lamar Jackson, but that's the absolute extreme. You don't want your quarterback taking 25 carries a game, but I think Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, those are kind of the guys that are in the middle of that mold. Maybe Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Didn't he come out of Clemson?
He did, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a little bit. He was a little bit beat up. Blues had some knee injuries, had some problems, and he blew his ACL in his first season in the NFL too. So it's kind of.
He was having a big year last year, Deshaun Watson. He was throwing. Him and DeAndre Hopkins were clicking like Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton this year.
To that point, when Deshaun went out, DeAndre still dominated. But, he's just that good. He's freaky. But, just kind of going through back to the national championship. But, yeah, Deshaun was coming out of Clemson. He'd been beat up a little bit. But, just that winning mentality. But, looking down the stat line, things are more or less balanced. The 2 big stats that pop out to me are third down efficiency. Clemson was 10 for 15, which is awesome. That's absurd on third down. Yeah. And Alabama was 4 for 13. And the turnover margin, it was 5-0 for Clemson. They didn't turn the ball over.
That wins you football games. Turnover margin. They got out rushed. They out threw them, but only by 50 yards. Not really and even Clemson, and they Alabama had the ball for 4 more minutes than them. So, quite the game. I think this now wild stat of the day for me is looking at the 2 programs over the past 4 seasons. They're both 55-4 and have 2 national championships apiece. Well, that's completely even. It's wild.
Clemson isn't like Alabama's this scary, terrifying thing if you buy into the Alabama hype. Clemson was just as good of a team. And to be completely honest, to me, what it looked like, and I mean, I might toot my own horn from last week here, it looked like Clemson just came out to play a football game. Alabama came out with the mentality that we're Alabama and we're going to win because we're Alabama. That's what it looked like to me. They fell flat. They had some players play. I mean, Clemson was a better team. That's hands down. I'm not trying to discredit Clemson by any means, but they were the better team for sure. And I think those are the two model programs going forward. Like, that's, if you want to have success in college ball, you got to have a model your program after Alabama or Clemson. That's for sure.
I'm still going to give a shout out to Notre Dame this year because they made a good run for it. I actually thought that they were going to beat Clemson, but at the end of the day, that they lost the team that won the national championship. And Clemson, much deserving against Alabama. And like you said, though, even team throughout. Excited to see how this rivalry continues to go because I'm pretty certain, like you said, Jamie, these guys will be playing each other for another couple years in the national championships. Final thoughts with the NCAA championships? We're even going into next year. Any excitement going into next year before we move on?
I mean, it's always hard to tell, but like you can predict. I mean, your recruiting classes, a lot of things are going to change. I think Oregon's going to make a splash next year. If I had to pick a team, they're returning something like 21 of 24 starters, and they had the fourth best recruiting class in the nation, which is a big thing for Oregon. I mean, they've kind of had a bit of a drop-off since Chip Kelly left, really. It's been a slow drop-off. They maintained for a little bit while they still had Marcus Mariota into his senior seasons, but they haven't been the dominant team. And at Pac-12, it's tough. But, yeah, I mean, I'm interested. We got to see if one of these Big Ten teams can get back up, whether it's Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio State, whatever it is. But, I mean, Clemson and Alabama are clearly ahead above everybody else. I don't even think it's close at this moment. I think it'll be a bit of a travesty if somehow those guys play each other in the semifinal next year. I think that would really suck because I think I compared it last week. I think the whole 1980 Winter Olympics, U.S. versus Soviets, I mean, it's kind of that your final is going to be in your semifinal game, right? So, but definitely a lot to look forward to. I mean, I love college football. It sucks I got to wait another 7 months for it to start up again. Well, the good thing is we got NFL playoffs here for another month, so keep watching.
Jamie Antonello with the pass, Hail Mary, catch for a touchdown. Sorry, I love that. It's funny. People love it. No, maybe not. People may not love it. But I'm being told from producer Ghost that we're going to be taking a break before we jump into talk about the NFL. Got to hear from our sponsors. Give them a little shout out. All of our many sponsors here with the Game Sports Show. Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello, Justin Hykel at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar for the third year in a row. Rightfully so. 2016, 2017, 2018. Like I said, great food, great atmosphere, great products available for beverages. If you want liquor, if you want beer with Molson, it's a lot of options here at the Sioux's best sports bar. Like I said, David McCaig alongside Justin and Jamie. We're going to hear from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the National Football League previous weekend, the NFL wildcard round. God, do we have lots to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night wait for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course? You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a Northern thing.
Hi, it's Craig Hartsburg, former NHL player and NHL coach. Welcome to the Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, the Twin Sault's only local regional national sports show, the Game Sports Show. I'm here live at Sportscenter Bar and Grill alongside Jamie Antonello and Justin Hykel. Continuing our January the 9th, 2019 edition, we talked about the NCAA college football championships with Clemson and Alabama, with Clemson coming on top. Now we're going to transition to professional football, talking about the NFL in terms of the wild card round. Wild, underlined 3 times. Probably not as wild if you're a Chicago Bear fan. Sorry. Just give a quick recap about the games. 4 games that were played this past weekend. Indianapolis Colts defeated the Houston Texans 21-7. Dallas Cowboys defeated the Seattle Seahawks 24-22. The LA Chargers defeated the Baltimore Ravens 23-17. And the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Chicago Bears 16-15. Bears are probably thinking of that being 18-16. It's probably the score that they want to be seeing right now, but they aren't seeing that score. Sorry to hear.
No, the double doink.
But the double doink now, that's going to be down in history for years. That's why you love sports. And this year, Jamie, I've said it every fucking week. I'm swearing a lot. Surprising season, hashtag, is the thing I've been saying. Entertaining season, hashtag, whatever you want to put. It's been a fantastic season in the National Football League. And going to the Bears and Eagles game, that just defines this season. It's been a non-kickers season, too. It's been an awful year for kickers. I don't know why it's been so bad for the kickers, if it's been the change of going back or too many long-distance field goals compared to short distance. I don't know. Are they not having their Campbell's soup anymore? Is it not real Gatorade on the sidelines? Is it just water? I don't know what the problem is with the kickers. They're not kicking the ball. They're not really kicking the ball anymore. Do they not kick enough in practice? Anyways, the point of the story is that total amount of games was perfect for the amount of excitement I was able to contain. If you're a Chicago Bears fan, I feel so bad. And it just ruined my fucking bracket. But anyways, nonetheless, Jamie, I'm going to go to you first. You're going to pick a game you want to talk about. I don't game Justin's picking, so please don't pick that game. We'll go to me last with my reaction about a game as well, but we'll go to you first, talk about a game you want to talk about. Let's go around the table and chat.
Well, not to bust your whole setup there, Dave, but I mean, there's only 4 games. I feel like we can talk about them all, no? Yeah. But, I mean, to be fair, I mean, we're on the topic now. We might as well start with Philly-Chicago.
Yeah.
Man, I was really hoping Chicago was going to get through. I think Philly is going to carry some momentum now. I'm kind of worried. I mean, going into New Orleans, I mean, I still think we're gonna be okay there, and they're down in the Bayou, but it's a little concerning. I mean, Big Dick Nick coming to town, so it's you never know, man. I mean, especially after engineered a big drive. I was waiting for Khalil. I was waiting for Khalil Mack to get loose on one of those pass rushes on that drive. That's why you're there. Somebody had to make a play. It just didn't happen. Cody Parkey, I mean, he was a true pro about it. I'll give him that. I mean, I think we all had a good laugh at the one Bears fan leaving the stadium. Had one of the best rants ever. But
Parkey's still on the Eagles payroll too.
Yeah, Parkey might be getting paid by the Eagles. That'd be hilarious. What a moment. But I don't know, man. It had its moments, that game, but still, it just felt like dangerously teetering on the edge. I was waiting for Chicago to just blow it open at one moment, and they just never did. They let Philly hang around, and that's what it came down to. I mean, you're talking about a point, like, difference between going overtime right now. So, quite the moment. I mean, I know everybody and their family lost it when they set up there on the goal line to try and go for looked like the Philly special over again, but really they just did the dive off of it. So I think it didn't work. They didn't have scoring, and then Golden Tate scores on the very next play. But Funny enough, I was checking up on the games, and it officially got labeled as a block kick now instead of a miss. I mean, it got tipped barely.
You're watching for suicide, that's why.
Wow. I'll let it get to you, but quite the game. I mean, Justin, your take?
I mean, I zoomed in on the video, and I couldn't definitively see a pixel between the finger and the ball, so I'm going to roll with it. But, I thought to myself right after, the game ended, and he walked straight to the prayer circle, and I'm thinking to myself, bud, that's not even going to help you. You live in Chicago. They've been giving you police escorts to the field for the last 2 months to get this shit under control.
Remember when that guy caught it with the Chicago Cubs with the baseball, how he had to get escorted out of the stadium?
I understand shit happens, and I wouldn't want to be a kicker in the NFL. Not a chance. Not a bloody chance.
You're either Vinatieri or you're nobody.
Well, that's exactly it. That's it. You're a kicker.
There's 3 guys in the league that
you're
are
a kicker in the NFL for 2 minutes, or you're a kicker in the NFL for 25 years. It's one of the two. Yeah. That's it. It's an art, and there's some guys that got it and some guys that don't. And you know what? If he can hit posts like that, what were those? Was it Manziel's buddies there at Texas A&M? Dude Perfect guys? Is that he's probably got a little thing. He could go with them.
They're gonna get him for a video.
Some gimmick shots. Why not? I have a little positive coming to this, but I think some of the guys in the Chicago locker room said it best. We lost as a team. And there's a lot of hostility that went Parkey's way. And you know what? Being a kicker, you got to know that's going to happen. You got to have some thick skin. Yeah, well, 100%. But it was nice to see the locker room come around behind him. Because in today's era of sports, you don't often see the team mentality come through sometimes in adversity, or when they're faced in adversity. And it was nice to see that locker room build around that guy. And you could tell why that team was in the playoffs, and you could tell why they were 12-4 this year. Tight-knit group there.
Club dub.
You know what? Chicago has a very bright future. And it was Golden Tate, or it might have been even Nick Foles that said in the post-game interview. Can't recall. But he said that they have a good young squad over there, and he has nothing but respect for them. Now, that's not what you want to hear if you're the Chicago Bears. Sure, you want to be on the winning side, but they got a good team over there in Chicago. Let's be very optimistic how this year went for them. And one thing in the game that really pointed out for me, though, looking at the statistics even, was the rushing was non-existent for the Bears. But obviously, Allen Robinson had 143 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he showed up to play. And Anthony Miller, Taylor Gabriel, not the Anthony Miller from Sault Ste. Marie, who's a friend and listener and friend of mine with the Game Sports Show. But, you have a team there in Chicago that's well put together. And Mitch Trubisky, I'm a fan. I'm a believer in Mitch, for real. And I think they are perhaps, I don't want to say running backs. I've always been a fan of Jordan Howard, and I think he's still pretty good. I think if they add another receiver to that team, I really think that would really help. Not saying put anything down between Miller or Gabriel, and obviously Robinson showed his talents. But that's why I've said before that I think they're young. This is a good growth opportunity for them. At the end of the day, a game that I think they could have won and moved to the second round because I feel like they're a better team than Philly was this whole year. But again, playoffs are a different cookie. And Nick Foles is just, you know what? You should play your number one quarterback for 12 weeks. Get that quarterback hurt and put Nick Foles in week 13. You'll win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Eagles are going to, but I'm saying right now that Nick Foles is getting the job done. And I wasn't a believer in Nick Foles staying with Philly. I thought maybe go somewhere else. But why would he have? It made sense that he stayed there. And it's good that he stayed there because the Eagles would be in a little bit more trouble or they wouldn't be in the same position they're in right now. So, at the end of the day, the Eagles deserve to win this football game. But you got to feel bad for the kicker for Cody Parkey, right? It's one of those times where you just go, "Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry." And he didn't even really shake hands. I believe he just left. He just walked out. He just went out, and you got to feel for him because the fans are devoted to this football team. But this team was not a playoff team last year. This team is a playoff team this year. They had a great year. Fans should be optimistic. This team will be there again. If not, they're going to make a lot of noise. The Chicago fans should be very excited about the Bears. Jamie, final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things there that you said that I want to touch on quickly, but I think Chicago, under Matt Nagy, I think he understands the importance of a run game, so they're going to keep that going. I disagree on your point about adding a receiver. I think they got to, if anything, they're going to go for somebody on the best available defensive player or bolster that offensive line. I think that's the best thing you can do. You have Jordan Howard, you have Tariq Cohen. I think Anthony Miller's only going to get better. Taylor Gabriel's kind of a gadget guy, but we've seen the gadget guy be really successful, and Matt Nagy's going to be able to get him the ball. And they can fill in that other receiver role, really. Trey Burton at tight end. They're okay skill position-wise, and Mitch Trubisky's only getting better. As far as Philly, I think we really see how far they go in the playoffs here, and we start talking about the Carson Wentz, Nick Foles thing in the future. But other than that, Justin?
I'm happy with that one. I took the Eagles. It was a little stressful. I mean, if anyone wants to, needed to know the picks for last week, they could have just listened to me.
You said that.
That would have
we'll announce that.
That would have saved you a lot of stress last week, for sure.
Some money.
Would have made a couple dollars. That's for sure. I, however, did not because I took Alabama.
So did I.
Yeah. Shoot. But yeah, no. I mean, not to transition out of the
you did have a perfect bracket.
Not to transition out of the Bears and the Eagles there, but I mean, if we're talking about kickers,
I got the Bears.
How does Sebastian Janikowski feel not being able to do anything for his team? I mean, like Seattle.
We might as well get right into that game.
Seattle got hosed. Hey, not the transition to the game everyone thought it was going to make, but Seattle. I have never seen a team get crippled so badly by not having a kicking game. If you ever needed an example of why special teams is important, that was it. Yeah. Like that drop kick punt. Like Flutie's going to be doing a clinic this summer and teach people how to drop kick again.
Yeah, seriously, he's going to show up in Seattle tomorrow.
That was the worst I've ever seen.
I felt so bad for Pete Carroll.
Like the kick off the longest yard, but it paid off for
because
them.
As a coach, Jamie, like you knew in that situation that there was probably like a 20% chance tops that was going to go well. But like you still like that, it's agonizing regardless. Like that's.
Well, see, the issue with the NFL is the ball has to hit the ground first on an onside kick. You can't recover the ball straight out of the air.
That was the worst kick I've ever seen.
So,
Jamie.
but the beauty of the drop kick is you're automatically doing it. So that's why you're able to do that floating kick. And I mean, in Canadian football, that's how everybody does their onside kick. You just sky it 12 yards deep, jump in the air, try and recover it. And he just shanked it. I mean, the guy's a rookie punter. He's still figuring out the game. I guarantee that that was probably his only onside kick he practiced. And I bet you Sebastian Janikowski, because he's a savvy vet, he probably had 5 in the tank ready to go. And Dixon came out at halftime and tried to practice some drop kick field goals. And you saw it. They went for it on 4th and goal because he clearly couldn't even make a 15-yard drop kick field goal. It's tough. I mean, that's a crazy scenario to think about. I mean, Janikowski's hamstring just exploded or whatever happened. I mean, he just not a good scene. But I think Dixon, that's the number one thing he's going to practice in the offseason is, can I make a 30-yard field goal? Can I get consistently enough to do that?
Just so listeners know, we've transitioned to the Cowboys-Seahawks, obviously. And you said this last week, Justin, that Zeke is Zeke when it comes to being a running back. But Dak Prescott, this would be a defining moment for him, right? He had a touchdown, interception, 226 yards.
3rd and 14 quarterback draw. That's the play of the game.
Yeah, and you know what? He had moments where he looked experienced, sometimes where he, it didn't work out, but you're not going to be perfect the entire game. Dak, yeah, he did very well, Dak, yeah. And, defeating the Seahawks, that's not an easy feat either. This is a team that's been there before. And obviously with the picks, I picked Seattle to win this football game. That was the only no. You picked Seattle. I picked Seattle and the Bears. So I got 2 wrong out of the 2. Justin's the only one who did get perfect. Jamie, you went 2 for 2 as well. But the Cowboys deserve to win this football game. But it would have been different if if Seattle had a healthy kicker in there. I think that would have definitely changed the whole landscape, right? Because special teams, as you said, Justin, is so important. People don't look at special teams. They're like, you know what? Just need a good offense or a good defense. Or if you have a good offense and defense, who needs special teams? Now, each part of the game, because it's a team game, is what wins you the football game. I'm going to get corny. You're a coach. Jamie, I'm sure you'll like that line. Now, with Seattle and with Dallas moves on in the playoffs to play. Now, do you think at all, between Dallas and Seattle, that if they were in Seattle, this game's different. Yes, it's different because you're in Seattle. Let's say the same injuries happen. Does the same turnout happen, or does being in Seattle, which is a loud atmosphere, would that have changed the pressure, the mentality for Dak? Somebody who is still young, still hasn't been in this type of situation in a game. Do you think it would be the same, or do you think it'd be different?
I think if it's barring like a very light to medium rain, I really think that's the only weather that and like crazy heavy wind are the only thing that really can affect a quarterback on the road that's not used to playing in a stadium. If it's really heavy rain, it's actually easier to throw the ball than it is if it's light rain. You'd rather have a soaking wet ball because you know the consistency, it's the exact same, than a ball that's kind of wet and you're still trying to get a feel for it. As far as like on the whole of the game, I think if you play the exact same game in Seattle, have the exact same scenario happen, the score doesn't change. Still lose your kicker. That's a huge thing. Like, you can't take that away. I think that's the bigger thing in the game.
That to me, that was the big issue there. That was Seattle's downfall.
Yeah, you lost Janikowski.
You lost Janikowski, and that was it. Like, you had to. I mean, you had to go for it on fourth. You had to go for 2 points.
It's not like Canada where you can punt for a single.
Yeah, like you put yourself in some situations where you're just kind of in a jam, and you can't do that in the playoffs. That's just the way she goes. I mean, it's a bummer, but like to touch on Dave's, is it harder to play in Seattle? I think the environment in Dallas is just as nuts as the crowd in Seattle. Did you see that video on Barstool when they opened the doors at Cowboys Stadium, or not AT&T
like
Palace, whatever it is? Yeah, it was nuts. Like, that was absolutely crazy. Isn't there assigned seats?
There is.
Like, I don't.
Must be sprinting for the beer garden.
Yeah. Dallas. Jerry Jones is very happy. Very happy. Dallas moves on this weekend to play against the Los Angeles Rams in LA. 8:15 kickoff time Saturday. The Eagles will play New Orleans on Sunday, as we were talking about Philadelphia prior to that. That's a 4:40 on Sunday. It's the game after the late, as you consider the quote-unquote late games of those two games. Now, transitioning to two more games to talk about, fellas, before we move on. We're just going to save the Colts for last, Justin, because we know we're going to give you the spotlight with that one. Here we go. Best for last. LA Chargers, Baltimore Ravens. Phillip Rivers. How many kids? Nine kids. Just had his ninth kid.
Maybe 27.
It's 27 kids after that win. It's 23-17 win over Baltimore. I want to say Lamar Jackson, the analysts on ESPN were kind of saying how at the start it wasn't the Lamar Jackson that was there for the last couple weeks of the season, but he ended up calming down during the game, and he really battled back in that fourth quarter. But at the same time, the LA was really equal to the task in that fourth quarter. They scored 11 points in the fourth quarter, where Baltimore scored 14. Throughout the game, though, the first half, I felt that LA did dominate the game, just defensively all around. Never mind just offensively with those 6 points in the first, 6 points in the second. I feel that Baltimore, it just wasn't the Baltimore team that was playing the last couple weeks against LA there. And LA was collected. They were ready for this game more than Baltimore was. And being on the road, they had a great road showing against Baltimore. And to get the win, I feel that they deserved to win that football game more than Baltimore did, and they did.
I think the biggest thing was LA had an awesome defensive game plan, and they realized Baltimore was super one-dimensional. If you take away the run on first and second down, you're forcing Lamar Jackson into third and long, and that's what they did for the whole first three quarters. And then eventually they were in catch-up mode, and Baltimore was throwing on first down, and LA didn't have a game plan for that. But at that point, you're up by 20, so you're okay, even if you let up a touchdown, which they did, and they let up 2 touchdowns in the fourth, but they were still up. And then Melvin Ingram had a beast of a game, by the way. Came up with a huge sack to turn the ball over to win the game. I think they had a great game plan. It was we talked about it last week. It's really hard to beat teams consecutively, close back-to-back games, especially when you get to a playoff atmosphere. And LA proved that they couldn't be fooled twice. They did a good job. Now they go on to New England, and I'm excited for that one.
I mean, nothing against Lamar Jackson. It's a rookie quarterback against a savvy veteran
with 85 kids.
And when you've spent that amount of time and that much, Phillip Rivers had a couple playoff appearances in his career. He's been in the NFL a long time, and he hasn't had that taste of the Super Bowl yet.
He's dying for it.
It's just a bad draw for the Ravens. I really think the Ravens were an okay team, even a good team transitioning. They went from Flacco halfway through the season to Jackson, and they really didn't miss a beat. No. I think they had 3 or 4 different running backs. You started the season with Alex Collins, and was it Gus Edwards made a brief appearance, and then who did they run last weekend? Because Edwards was
Dixon.
Yeah, and Dixon. So Baltimore's only going to be better next year.
Yeah, hope not.
I just think it was a bad draw for them with San Diego. I think San Diego had a rock-solid game plan for this. Baltimore tried some different stuff in the fourth, had them on their heels, and San Diego just bend, they didn't break. I mean, that's it. I think this weekend in New England's probably going to be a different story. Absolutely. It's either going to be a shootout or it's going to be a 17-14 boring second-half game, but I wouldn't want to play San Diego at all.
LA.
Everyone knows what
I like that. I just like this. Hey, you guys throw me under the bus when you can. What? You guys throw me under the bus when you can.
We always do.
That's true. Baltimore's defense is what impressed me this year. Obviously, they had the top 3
well, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, they did. Yep, they did. And Lamar Jackson is only going to get better as well. Obviously, Falco, I think, is out the door. I think that's your Falco. Yeah. Shane Falco. Oh, you blew it. Oh, so you said that you said the replacements. My mind's. I want to go watch that when I get home. Yeah, it is. That's a good team. The replacements. You ever see that team? You ever make that team in Madden? That's it. They were called the Washington Sentinels. That's it. Funny. Oh, with the cigarette in his mouth, having that kicker. Wish we had the double mic for that one. Back to the beginning of what we talked about at the beginning of the show. Colts Texans. Chargers move on to play New England, as Jamie attested to. Very exciting game. The Chargers and New England play at 1:05 on Sunday. The Colts play the Chiefs this upcoming weekend. That's at 4:35 on Saturday. But they had to win to get there. That was a 21-7 win over the Houston Texans. I got to say flat out that the defense of the Colts was great for the entirety of the game. It's one thing that really stood out to me. And they came out hucking, doing well in that first quarter. 14-0 in that first quarter. Andrew Luck, couple touchdowns, 222 yards. Marlon Mack runs for 148 yards. You have T.Y. Hilton doing T.Y. things, getting 85. And he had 70 on that last drive, as you're just saying, Jamie. But it's the Colts, Justin. I should really give you the mic first, but that's not the way it goes. I thought I'd open it up for you. I'd hut the ball. Throw it down the field, my friend. That's a good analogy.
There's never been a more clear example, I think, in professional football that the offensive line is the key to a team's success.
Quentin Nelson is a man.
Quentin Nelson's disgusting.
So good.
I
love Eric.
I want to meet him so he can pick me up and throw me through a car.
I want to get pancakes.
He's the entire game. I'm watching him, and he's literally seconds,
destroying people,
tenths of a second away from a holding penalty sometimes, and the refs he lets the guy go and just drives him into the ground. It's fascinating to watch him play, and he finishes every goddamn play, every play, and that has to be contagious to play with a guy like that. Ryan Kelly at center has been a beast. Anthony Costanzo's stopped being a holding penalty disaster machine. And I feel it's a shame. I forget the rest of the line's name right now, but a guy we picked up in the second round this year in the same draft as Quentin Nelson, he's been outstanding for us. And then I believe Gawinski is our other guy who's been rock solid. Solid tight end play from Ebron. We got
Ebron is fantastic.
Well, we got that basketball player transitioning. That Mo Alley Cox has been coming in, and he's unreal. He's a big body. That's guy's thick. That's terrifying. When you got a tight end that's 6'6", and it's the weight of an offensive lineman coming at you. You got a point guard and football pads coming at you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game this week going into Kansas City, but against the Texans, it was a different Colts team. I'm used to them coming back, scoring, and then playing from behind almost the entire game. And this Colts team came out, they scored, and they scored quick, and they came out and they did it again. And then they did it again, and then they just started running the clock. It was smart, Madden-style play football. And they ran the ball, they ate the clock, and Houston didn't have an answer for it. They still got a couple, they got close to luck. They got a couple shots in. That Houston defense, you wouldn't want. The J.J. Watt had a pretty good game still. That one blocked luck pass I didn't think was going to come down. I thought it went on the roof of the stadium.
That was scary.
I was counting the seconds waiting for that ball to come down. But I just want to continue it going forward into this week. I think Houston was really hindered by not having that second receiver to get Hopkins free. Whether it was Demaryius Thomas or not Hopkins. Well, he played. He played, but what's his name there? Who destroyed my fantasy hopes? Will Fuller.
Well, he's out.
Yeah, he's out. Like, Houston really relied on having that number 2 receiver to draw some coverage, and the Colts defense just had an answer for the run game as well. Like, that's
only 37 yards.
Houston's offense just couldn't do anything, and it's very reassuring going into this week.
Kiki, do you love me?
Yeah, I think just building off what you said, Justin, I mean, just dominating win for Indy. And I mean, divisional games, you always knew tensions were going to be high. But, I mean, Houston's defense is no slouch. I think the best way to take away a pass rush is run the ball, and they did. They were opportunistic on their touchdowns, made it happen. Houston didn't have an answer, exactly what you said. But they were consistent with the run game, chewed clock. Andrew Luck played mistake-free football. I think, unfortunately, you can kind of see members of that Houston defense are aging a little bit, and some of their corners just not as quick as they used to be. But big thing for Indy is they shut down Hopkins. I mean, he had under 40 yards receiving, Dave just said. So, like, that's wild. That's a win for them. I think they got to do the same thing now. You got to somehow try and take away Tyreek Hill this week, or try and get to Mahomes. I mean, it's going to be a tough task.
Darius Leonard on Travis Kelce this week.
That's a nice matchup. That might determine the win, to be honest.
Never been a fan of having time off in between that extra week. I think that's an advantage for the Colts. I really do. And against the Texans, they didn't use a lot of steam. It wasn't like the game between, I want to say, the Eagles and Bears, where I feel is a tight defensive game. It was all around where, well, we're getting into people who are professional football players here who know how to treat their bodies. But I just feel like the Colts should not be pointed as too far. What's the point spread on this game? Do you know at the top of our heads right now? I know the Chiefs are favored. I think.
So it's obviously
57, 5.5 Kansas, eh? Wow. Okay. I don't think that makes sense. I think you got to bet the other way on that one. But at the end of the day, I think I've never been a fan of having these bye. That's where I think the Patriots, the Chiefs, sorry, Jamie, but the Saints, especially against the Eagles, who are one of the hottest teams in football, I've never been a fan of having the time off in between but yeah, you have bye weeks. I get it. But I wish we had the stats of teams that came back from bye week, what their success rate was on winning games. I'd love to see that. Maybe next week I can get that somehow or whatever, get that arranged. But I think at the end of the day, the Colts should not be underestimated is my whole point. Because this team next to the Philadelphia Eagles, hottest teams going into the end of the year, and the Colts just look fantastic right now. They're hot. In the words of Magatu, they're so hot right now. You like that, Jamie? You like that? I knew where you were going. You knew you like that, eh?
I don't even know what that is.
He doesn't even know what that is. Zoolander, the Blue Steel.
Oh. Yeah.
What's that book called in there? The building for people, the kids that cannot read good or something? They want to learn other. Relax. Don't do it. Fellas, we're going to take a quick break. If you guys are good, if you want to add additional comments, you guys good around the table? Good around the table?
I mean, just for the record, Colts don't lose in Kansas City.
You did say that last week. And Andy Reid doesn't win playoff games. I like that. And for the record,
Kansas City's in Missouri.
Did you know Indianapolis Colts are in Indianapolis?
They're in Indiana.
Indiana?
Yeah.
Did you know that New Orleans is in New Orleans?
It was more of a joke.
Yeah, okay. I just went with that there. I'll stop, though, because I'm getting told we have to go to break.
In Arkansas.
When we come back from break, we got the divisional round to talk about, fellas, and a little bit of Raptors news before we wrap up tonight's show here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Dave McCaig alongside Jimmy Antonello and Justin Hykel, Colts fan, one only Colts fan
here on the panel. Perfect bracket.
So far.
The Blake winner, Pick'em Trophy winner, Jamie Antonello, is wrong so far, along with the 1 for 4. And I went 2 for 2. 2 for 4. 2 and 2. 2 and 2 is what I meant. 2 and 2, 2 and 4. Okay, 50%. I went 50%. Can we go with numbers? I like numbers. No. Right back after these messages. You listen to the Twin Cities only local, regional, and national sports show.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sportscenter rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sportscenter, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sportscenter Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Get wicked at the Wicked Sister. You'll find the best tasting food for the whole family. Start off with some appetizers like the crab dip, served with warm non-bread strips and soft pretzel bites, or their antibiotic and hormone-free boneless chicken wings with 5 choices of sauces. Entrees include the barbecue pulled pork sandwich, the #1 selling drunken cow burger, or Philly cheesesteaks, and they're on special all day Thursdays. The Wicked Sister also offers a gluten-free menu and catering. Bring the whole family. The Wicked Sister, downtown Ashman Street, open 7 days a week.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to The Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsioux.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Superior Pro Shop. The Superior Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Superior Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Superior Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful, new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Joe Bowen, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show from Sault Ste. Marie.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig, here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill, Sioux's best sports bar for a 3rd year in a row here on its famous 75-cent wing nights. Delicious fucking wings, let me tell you. Delicious pizza, Italian pizza, great beverages, great people, great service, great staff, beautiful staff.
Easy.
David McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello and Justin Hykel here talking about the National Football League playoffs with our In the Pocket segment. And continuing our In the Pocket segment, that Dave, you blew it. I did mention it was in the pocket off of the beginning of the show. Yes, listeners, I didn't say in the pocket segment at the beginning of the show. But you know what? I'm allowed to make the audio. Everyone knows what our Wednesday show is about. It's about in the pocket. It's been like that for 4 years. Fellas, we're going to continue into the divisional round. Jamie, give you a little update on your trophy. Your trophy's done. By the way, Superior has made the trophy. I don't know if I want to give it to you earlier at the Super Bowl.
What about my playoff trophy?
Your playoff trophy is going to be a shake hand because I'm still going to win who's going to win the Super Bowl, though. I'm still alive for who I think the Super Bowl winner is. Did anyone pick against you? I don't know if we got as many comments as I want below. Comment below as the Podbean page. You can comment below or on Facebook or anything. Reach out to us, and you may get a prize courtesy of Sportscenter Bar and Grill and Superior Pro Shop and the Game Sports Show for picking the right bracket. If you can prove your bracket or pick the winner of the Super Bowl. Fellas, moving on. We're talking about the NFL divisional round. We kind of did talk about the Colts and Chiefs a bit before we went to break. we're going to start with that first. Then, obviously, you tested to Jamie before was how the Colts have to watch Hill and, maybe pressure against Mahomes. And you got Kelsey and you got Andy Reid, who hasn't won a football game, or who doesn't win football games as much. But at the end of the day, fellas, just a quick little additional briefing with the Colts and the Chiefs, as we kind of did touch on it prior to break.
Yeah, well, I really hope the Colts win because it's the only team that I got right in the first round. So, I think this is going to be tough sledding for Kansas City. I think Indy's one of the hottest teams, and I've said it ad nauseum. But you never know. That offense for Kansas City's wild. I think their Achilles heel is the defense, so they can't stop anybody. They haven't been able to stop anybody all season. And I think Indy's got one of the most dangerous offenses. The hardest thing to deal with is a dominant line on either side of the ball. When you have a D-line or an O-line that takes over a game, I think Indy's O-line has the potential to take over this game. I think Indy wins. They keep rolling. They go on to the AFC Championship game.
Everyone knows where I'm going with this one, but we'll elaborate a little bit. I really think that the Colts shut down Kansas City's passing game. I think forcing Mahomes out of the pocket is a fantastic idea.
Oh, out of the pocket.
I think that's a great idea, and they should do that more often because Darius Leonard's a hungry guy.
Oh, yeah.
They should definitely do that.
Any better.
The only thing that scares me about Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and those guys is Mahomes makes some cross-body nonsense passes
that doesn't make sense.
They horrify me.
Yeah.
No,
he's not. Nobody's like
no.
that.
If I was the coach on the sideline, I'd be balder than I already am, ripping out my hairs. Like some of the shit that he does.
Love your hairline though.
But Mahomes pulls that shit off. Like Luck does that sometimes, and it's going to be a pick.
Yeah.
Like I can call those out now. I don't know. Well, it's coming as soon as it comes out of his hands. It's like come on. But that's the one thing. Mahomes, if he's loose. If he's frustrated, I think that it's a very winnable game. If he's still... It's his first playoff game, so you don't really know... You don't know what you're getting out of him.
No, you don't.
So it's really hard to game plan. I think we're well matched against Kansas City's running game. I think, the tight end Darius Leonard matchup I think is good. Desir on Tyreek Hill I like. But the rest of it's an unknown. Like our O-line against their D-line I'll take any day of the week. It's for us, I think the key is controlling the clock.
Yeah.
The longer you leave the Kansas City offense on the bench, the less they can run up the score. That's if we can score early and keep it up, then I think we're okay. I really do. But if we're going to get into a shootout, it's going to be a stressful one for me. You're going to see me throwing hair all over Cora Road, that's for sure.
That's a lot of hair.
Yeah, it's about 7 hairs.
7 hairs. Throw along the road. Colts, Chiefs, fellas, we're going to go rounds. Justin, you've picked the Colts. Jamie, you pick
the Colts.
I got to stick with my bracket. Sorry, Justin. I am going with the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. Did you know the reason why I'm going with this is because the Chiefs have had such a good season. Andy Reid's due to win a game in the playoffs. I think that this Mahomes is a real deal. And, close game, win by a field goal, Chiefs.
Any team you've cheered for so far, Dave, has helped me in the playoffs or get into the playoffs. So keep it up.
I have optimism for the Colts, however, but sticking with my bracket, the Chiefs is who I'm picking. Next game, fellas, as my computer decides to glitch a little bit here. Hopefully everything's still clear. Cowboys-Rams. I think the run for the Cowboys is coming to a little bit of an end. This Rams team is absolutely sexy to watch. Now, in Justin's bracket, he picked Cowboys and Rams to play, but you did pick the Rams to defeat the Cowboys. Justin. Dave, you didn't have the Cowboys playing the Rams, so you get to pick a new winner, but you did have the Rams moving on. So not a new winner, I guess you say a new matchup, but a same winner is what I mean. So the Rams, I think, will get the win. And Jamie, you actually picked the Bears to beat the Rams this week in your bracket. So you got to pick a whole new matchup here all along. But just get a quick little briefing and kind of preview about the Cowboys and Rams, starting with you, Jamie.
Yeah, you said it off the hop there, Dave. I think Dallas's run ends here this week. I think LA's been really thinking about that loss last year. I think it was Atlanta that knocked them out of the playoffs last year. I think they've been thinking about that I think Sean McVay, we know how good his memory is for football and stuff. I think he's been thinking about that for a while. I picked Chicago to go into LA, and I thought Chicago was going to get it done. I think it's a different story with Dallas. I think Dallas is a good team. I just think LA is going to have a bunch of tricks up their sleeve. I think LA could get to a point where it's a similar game to what Indy did to Houston last week. I think if they get up early, that's dangerous territory. You got to keep Zeke off the field, and you got to force Dak into obvious passing situations because you know he's going to make a mistake at one point. I think LA moves on here. Not going to say it's an absolute blowout, but I think if they can get up early, I think they can do some real damage.
And it's going to be an interesting one, especially if we get the Dak we saw last weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be
because that. When he cartwheeled there,
3rd and 14.
That. That kind of tells you if you've got a guy that you want to keep or if you don't have a guy. If he's willing to do something like that. And to be totally honest, I've been one of the biggest critiques of Jason Garrett, only because we get so many freaking Cowboys games on TV. Yes. A lot of his play calling drives me absolutely insane. And I thought his game against Seattle was a really well called game. It might be interesting, against that LA defense. I think it's going to be a good game. It's probably the two best running games in football, smashing up against each other. Although I don't know what
two remaining.
Yeah, what Gurley's, if he's 100%, he'll play. But even then, C.J. Anderson was no slouch when he stepped in there. So it's going to be a good tilt. It's going to be a tasty one for sure. What do you think? 300 total rushing yards in that one?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Is that a push? I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a lot of pass. I think that clock's going to go pretty quick. It'll be like that Indy Buffalo game a few years ago in the snow.
Oh, man.
Game was over in like 2 hours.
Well, fellas, I really think you said it. You've got the Rams. You've picked. I'm going to go around to you, to Justin. You're going to go. May as well make your prediction now before I jump in and because you have the Rams, but I'm going to make you say it officially, as you did pick the Rams to move on. But officially say it.
100% the Rams. Everyone that stepped in to play running back has had the same numbers for them. So
yeah. My pick is definitely the Rams. That's what I picked to move on, anyways. But I had them playing the Bears originally, so they're playing the Cowboys now. Rams, I feel, will move on. I think that just a great football team, and it's the story with the Rams are just going to be a great football team for the next handful of years. Jamie, you did not have these. You had the Bears playing the Rams. Now it's the Cowboys, which is almost the same as me, but you had the Bears beating the Rams originally, so your whole thing is changing right now. But prediction on your end for who you think is going to win between the Cowboys and the Rams?
Like I said a couple minutes ago, going with LA. I think it's a different story against Dallas. I think their luck's going to run out. And I was hot on Chicago. They were one of my teams to pick this year. I thought they were going to do it all. Disappointing exit, but going with LA.
Had to get the official word, fellas. Now we have 2 more games to talk about, and then we have to jump in a little bit of Raptors talk, and that'll be all the time that we have here on the show. So quickly going to the next game, Chargers and Patriots. Chargers, love this team. I think they're not. I don't know if they are favored. I forget what the spread is. They're not favored in this game to win. 4-point favorites is New England to win this game, especially at home at Gillette Stadium. So I'm not sleeping on this Chargers team. I fan of this Chargers team. Phillip Rivers is due to win. He's hungry to win. He's going to have 25 new children by the end of the night, as Justin and Jamie would say. Just going to get your guys' reaction between the Chargers and Patriots and your predictions following your reaction. Justin first.
I've been hard on the San Diego train, but train stops here. It's rolling into New England, and I think if New England's got a shot for one more, it's going to be winning this game and moving on to get their asses kicked by Indy next week. But not that I said that out loud, but I said that out loud. No, seriously though, I think New England's the more experienced team here. I think that just the patience and the Belichick has with his play calls, and that Brady's been there so many times. I don't know. The X factor might be Joey Bosa getting to Tom Brady and beating him into the ground, but I'm taking the Patriots in this one, hands down. I think experience wins it, and the Patriots got all kinds.
This is going to be a tough one. I mean, my bracket was busted in that first round already. I had Baltimore going in to play New England. But I did say whoever comes out of that Baltimore-LA game, I think is going to win in New England, and I'm going to stick with it. I think the Chargers are going to go in and get a win. I think they're going to have obviously the game plan has to be a lot different defensively. You got to get Tom Brady on the ground. Everybody knows that. And keep him off the field as much as possible. And I think Phillip Rivers is more motivated than ever. I think LA's committed to running the ball when they need to as well. And I think that defensive front, I think you said Joey Bosa, I think Melvin Ingram too, man. He's heating up. They're making plays all over the place. Derwin James at safety, I think he's him and potential rookie of the year candidate. I think Darius Leonard's going to beat him out from Indy. But those guys, like one of those top guys that got drafted, I think this is going to be an interesting one. I bring it back to that. And Bill Belichick and Nick Saban are friends, so it's very easy to compare New England to Alabama. I said it about Alabama. There's like 3 or 4 programs that I think aren't afraid of Alabama, like Auburn, Clemson, those teams. I think the Chargers are one of those teams that isn't afraid to go into New England and win because they've done it before. They're experienced. Phillip Rivers has done it. I think a lot of this game is going to get decided in the third quarter. Bill Belichick is a master of second half adjustments, whether or not where they're at in the game, where LA's at in the game, up or down. I think that's going to play a big role, but I don't think there's going to be a massive comeback in the fourth quarter in this game. I think whatever team is really rolling, I think steady playoff football in Foxborough, I think it's going to be fun to watch, but I'm going to go with LA.
Oh, it would just be great to see the Patriots lose. I'm sorry. As unprofessional from a sports show as that may sound, I just feel like I like seeing these teams move on that are teams that don't win often. Now, it'd be a different story if I was the Steelers were in the circumstance, or the Leafs or Raptors, and my favorite sports team. So putting bias aside, though, I really think when it comes between the Chargers and the Patriots, this is the game that I had picked. And to happen and to move on, I had New England. And sticking with New England, I still think that's the team that's going to win this experience. I think Tom Brady and just Bill Belichick and the guys have been here before. They know how to win. They know how to coach. They know how to adapt to any game situation. Being on home field, I really think that New England is going to pull away with the win, and they're going to be playing the Chiefs in the next round of the NFL playoffs. Sorry, Justin. I had to say that they'll be playing the Chiefs in the next round. Fellas, one more game to get to. We still got some Raptors talk before we wrap up the show. You got the Philadelphia Eagles and New Orleans Saints. Jamie, I'm going to give you the floor. Being a Saints fan, a new Saints fan, I'm still not letting you live that down. Jumping ship for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Philly, New Orleans, go.
You just got to jab it in there every chance you get. I mean, what are you going to do? Yeah, no, I think came across it today. Sean Payton walked into the locker room, 4 armed guards, had a pile of $225,000 in cash on a cart with the Lombardi Trophy on top. Told the team, "You want this? $225,000 is their Super Bowl bonus. Lombardi Trophy obviously goes to the winner. All you got to do is win 3 games." Locker room erupted. Enough said. New Orleans going to the Super Bowl. They're going to win it. Philly is a dangerous team. I'm not oblivious to that. I said that last week. I said if Philly moves on, they're scary. I just think that Drew Brees, I think Sean Payton's going to have enough of a game plan. I think their defense is better than Chicago's. I think it's close. Chicago's an excellent defense this year, but I think New Orleans is rolling with that week of rest. I think guys are healthy. Drew is going to be still kind of stewing from that Minnesota disaster last year, and they're going to use that as motivation. I think New Orleans gets the win here. I don't want to say it's a blowout or anything. I mean, New Orleans are 8-point favorites, which is pretty big for a divisional round game, despite the fact that they're the 1 seed playing the 6. And Philly feeds into that underdog mentality, which scares me a little bit. But I'm going to go with New Orleans. I think Nick Foles is going to make a mistake. I'm not saying he's going to make a million mistakes. I think he's going to make one key mistake. New Orleans is going to capitalize on it, and that's going to be the difference in the game.
And to me, I think that's Philly's defense is good.
Yeah.
And New Orleans' offense is no slouch, that's for sure. I think probably the X factor here is like Ted Ginn's back now.
That's big.
And for some people, they hear that, okay, whatever, Ted Ginn's back. But New Orleans has been fiending all year for the another receiver. Like they tried Des Bryant, that didn't work. Brandon Marshall came in. He never even saw a game, I don't think.
And then they've had a rotating,
and they've just been trying to fill that hole. And to be honest, there was a void left when Ted Ginn got hurt. Some players work in an offense, and he seems to be just one of those guys that's meant to be there. Just kind of like Darren Sproles has been that guy that's meant to be everywhere that he's been. But to me, I think that's the X factor for New Orleans offense. I think that lets them open up their game. It just draws that right amount of coverage, either whether you're looking to pass it out, Kamara out of the back, run him out of the slot, whether you're going to pound Ingram. Like, there's just too many options. I like Philly's defense. I like the Nick Foles story. But Drew Brees is Drew Brees, man. Like, you got to respect good quarterback play. And I think he wins that one, hands down. I think the Saints got this. Like Jamie said, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. But I think it's going to be a definitive Saints win, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know what? Nick Foles is, I don't want to say his luck's running out, but, he's going against a very good football team in New Orleans.
Philly plays Indy, you can say that.
I guess because his luck would be running out. I like that. But Philadelphia going into New Orleans, being in the Dome, I really feel that New Orleans is going to be superior in this football game, and Drew Brees is motivated. He wants to win another Super Bowl. This New Orleans team has been something to really enjoy to watch this year. So in my original bracket in this game, I had the Saints playing against the Seahawks, and I had the Saints moving on to play the Rams. So obviously sticking with the Saints to get the win this week, and rightfully so. Deserving, I believe the spread is 8 points on this, I think rightfully so. But I'm not going to underestimate the Eagles. They defeated New England Patriots in the final last year. It's going to be a closer football game than people than imagine. But I think at least by a touchdown and a field goal, 10 points or so, I think New Orleans to win, I think is kind of where I am leaning my stats towards. Fellas, any final thoughts for their In the Pocket segment with football before we quickly go to the Raptors update?
Go Saints. I think they're going to get the win. I mean, this is we talked about a wild card weekend and divisional round. It's the best playoff rounds for the NFL. Maximum amount of games. Chaos can always happen. You never know what's going to go on. There was some crazy stuff that happened in the wild card round. Something's going to upset. There's going to be something wild in this round too. Whether or not it's a massive turnover play, somebody makes a big mistake, I'm excited to watch. Hopefully it's not the Saints or Indy for our sakes on the panel. I would say hopefully it's not for Pittsburgh, but they didn't make the playoffs, Dave. Sorry. I didn't know if you knew. I just wanted to let you know. But
12 years.
Yeah.
12 years.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty set in stone here. It's go Colts this weekend for sure. I obviously like to see the Saints win. I think that's a pretty intriguing matchup. The anniversary game. I don't know. Was it like a 9-year anniversary?
Yeah.
A real awkward one. Maybe we'll get an onside kick this time. I don't know. But Colts for sure this weekend. And, just get out there and watch some of these games. It should be a killer weekend.
Wow, my final thoughts. Let's continue this hashtag surprising yet entertaining NFL football season 2019. Because it is 2019 season. National Football League playoffs not done. It's getting a little exciting. Just a little reminder for the games. You got Saturday games between the Colts Chiefs at 4:35, Cowboys Rams at 8:15 on Saturday, Chargers Patriots Sunday 1:05, Eagles Saints 4:40. Park those rear ends on the couch and get your popcorn ready, in the words of Terrell Owens. And in the words of Justin and myself, the Leafs do play the Bruins on Saturday. They also play the Devils on Thursday, which might be tonight for when people hear this upload. Fellas, we got to move on from the In the Pocket segment. We're going to move on to talk about the Raptors quick before we wrap up tonight's show officially. The Toronto Raptors officially go to second in the Eastern Conference, again, just based on this the games in hand and being 31-12. The Bucks are 29-11. We all know who the number one seed is with the Toronto Raptors. Some news with the Toronto Raptors: they are going to be signing not Kobe Bryant, not Vince Carter, not trading for him or anything like that, even though that ovation he got from the Atlanta Hawks, loved that by the Toronto faithful. Fantastic to see. But the Raptors are going to be signing Patrick McGraw. He's a former Golden State Warrior, and he was released by the Cleveland Cavaliers just about, it was on Sunday he was released. They signed him to a 2-year, $6 million offer sheet that the Golden State Warriors declined to match. McGraw is a career 41.8% shooter from the floor, including approximately 30% from deep. Good little added depth for the Toronto Raptors on the bench, and a little bit of experience there being with Golden State and with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Some pretty big winners there, obviously, with Cleveland and with Golden State. Now, the Raptors also have got news today that Jonas Valanciunas will be out for another 4 weeks due to the thumb injury. They've been doing all right without him, and they can take the time and let him heal. But when he comes back, he'll be a big presence for them on the court. Having the duo reunited between Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry is absolutely huge. They'd like to see them on the court together. Finally, it's been some time since they have been back together due to Kyle Lowry's back injuries. They won 104-101 against Atlanta yesterday against the Vince Carter Atlanta Hawks. It was definitely, like I said, a great game to watch in terms of watching the ovation with Vince Carter. I got to say that I grew up a Raptors fan when this organization came to play in 1995. Big reasons because of number 15. I still got my Vince Carter jersey. He brought seats into the rear butts in the seats, and he had Tracy McGrady there. Legendary team with the Raptors there. So I want to say that I respect Vince Carter. I'd love to see him come back to Toronto for a run this year on the bench at the deadline or something. I'd love to see it, the veteran presence, him retire a Raptor, potentially retire an NBA champion, because the Raptors are in that conversation, obviously. So is it going to happen, though? I don't know, but definitely great to see the Toronto faithful giving him an ovation. What he deserved. He never deserved to get booed. He put his heart and soul into that organization before he moved on to the Nets. Speaking of the Nets, the Raptors play them. The Raptors play them Friday. That is at 7:30. Sorry to get the time confirmed there. They play at Scotiabank Arena against the Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, ladies and gentlemen, are a little bit of a, let's just say, struggling team. They're not doing as good as the Toronto Raptors are doing. But, again, anything can happen in the NBA. The Nets right now are 21-22. They're not in terms of the likes of the Cavaliers that are 8-34, but it doesn't matter where the distance is between them. The Nets and the Raptors will be definitely a good basketball game. And the Raptors defeating the Pacers in pretty good fashion earlier this week was great to see. The Philadelphia 76ers and the Bucks, those are the four teams going. The Celtics, I still can't believe they're fifth in the conference. I thought this team would just be neck and neck with the Raptors, if not beating the Raptors, to be honest, because of being healthier this year. But nonetheless, the Raptors right now, who I still consider in first, technically they're not. Giannis Antetokounmpo. This guy is something to watch on the Bucks. We've said it each week how big he is. Now, Denver Nuggets are still holding first place in the West, 2 games in hand on Golden State. You have the Lakers, who are in 8th place, the Spurs, who are in 7th. DeMar DeRozan had a pretty good turnout against the Toronto Raptors, got a triple-double against the Raptors. So DeMar DeRozan, people say, well, I guess we should have traded this guy. Anyone that saw those comments on the Toronto Raptors pages or through the NBA pages, you guys are silly. Kawhi Leonard is an absolute dream to have on the Raptors. And DeMar is doing well on San Antonio. He's always been a dynamic player. But at the end of the day, the Toronto Raptors are still a better basketball team with Kawhi on it. Fellas, anything to add with the Toronto Raptors? Jamie, starting with you first.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty gutsy win versus Atlanta. Clutched it out. I think Kawhi had some key defensive stops at the end of the game that really allowed them to win there. They're playing good basketball right now. I mean, they're so much better with Lowry and Kawhi in the lineup, though. So that's going to be the big key. Keep those guys healthy. They got to be in tip-top form going into the postseason. That's really what's going to make or break it, I think, for us. But the one good thing is Van Vliet looked good in Lowry's absence. He was distributing the ball well. It's nice to have a guy that can come off the bench and you can trust to play point and really control the play, and there's not that much of a drop-off. Obviously, Lowry's a special player, but Freddie can get it done at the same time. You're talking about Vince Carter. I mean, yeah, his legacy is unbelievable. Hopefully, he's talked about, people are saying they wouldn't be surprised if he played another couple years, which would be wild. But, I mean, if that was his last game, I mean, I think he's appreciative. He's always talked highly of Toronto, so I think the fan base appreciates that, despite the fact, I mean, anytime you leave. And to DeMar, I think what was his first career triple-double the other night, which is absurd to me. Like, the fact that he hadn't had one up until that point. I mean, and I think the biggest thing where we beat it over the head with the whole DeMar Kawhi trade, but I think Kawhi on defense, man, like that's what it comes down to when you get in the postseason. Like, you got to be able to shut teams down, you got to be able to shut down superstars, and then Kawhi gives you that option. He's a little bit more flexible. He can kind of cover anybody on the court as opposed to DeMar. There was no way DeMar was going to cover a power forward. It just wasn't going to happen. So I think Kawhi gives you that flexibility, other than covering a 7'2" maybe. But even that, I still think he'd go to battle for you. But interesting to see. I hate the stupid tiebreaker stuff that puts the Raptors in second technically with all those games at hand, but things will get sorted out. Yeah, I mean, major focus for all of us right now, I think, is NFL playoffs, but always keeping our eye on the Raptors.
I always keep my eye on the Golden State Warriors in terms of being a fan of them.
How about Clay?
But Clay got 43 points. Draymond Green, 2 points. 11 rebounds, though, 10 assists. The big thing is I can't wait for this team to really start to crumble. I feel like this offseason Durant's going to move on finally, and I think he'll be in a Knick uniform or in a Laker uniform. I even think Draymond Green might have the potential to move on. Maybe this will be the year that Golden State gets defeated by the Raptors in the finals and the dynasty of Golden State starts to crumble. Justin, do you have anything to add with basketball? Your favorite sport of all time?
I've got really nothing. I did not see the Greek Freak do anything this weekend, so I have no comments. He didn't terrify me at all this week, nor did he challenge The Rock any further.
He's definitely something to watch, though, the Greek Freak. We saw him live at the time the Air Canada Center, and he is a threat. That guy, I think, I got him right up there being being the guy in the NBA, being the best NBA talent out there with LeBron James. But, fellas, that's going to do it for our Raptors recap in terms of games. The next game is against the Nets, as I mentioned, at 7:30, and then they play Sunday against the Washington Wizards to round out the weekend with Kawhi Leonard and Lowry back. When Valanciunas gets back, they'll be with a full lineup, and I kind of like when they have Valanciunas in the lineup with these guys because of the point that they can just dish the ball to Valanciunas in the paint, and he gets simple layup points. He was doing pretty well before he got injured. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come for when Valanciunas gets back and just going into the postseason for the Toronto Raptors, who don't have to play against LeBron James in the playoffs anymore unless they get to the finals. The Raptor killer himself. Steve McCaig alongside Jamie Antonello, Justin Hykel here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Going to the conclusion portion of the show, I wanted to say thank you to the listeners for making us a part of your night here tonight at Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Scott Nason, who is our board operator tonight, Frank Ligori, Sportscenter General, and the beautiful Alicia White.
Easy.
For her great service, as always, and to the people that stop by here at Sportscenter Bar and Grill to make it a part of their night. And you've been listening to the Twin Cities' only local regional national sports show on thegamesportshow.com or the Podbean site or through YouTube. Jamie, we will see you next week here at SportsCenter talking about the divisional round. Thank you for coming by here tonight, pal.
Yeah, man. That was fun. Fun as always. I'll be back next week.
Justin, tomorrow, Northern Superior Brewing Company. You, me, Dane, we have a date. We have a guest, John Parko, coming by, head coach of Sioux Birds. Potentially may have other guests show up tomorrow, potentially to see, but probably won't be till next week or the following week. People have been asking about the Craig Hartsburg edition. We'll hopefully have one next week for that as well. Myself, Justin, and Dane will be at Northern Superior Brewing Company at 6:15 tomorrow. The show will be until about 7:30 or so, a little bit earlier because of being the earlier week. And we'll also be at Icebreakers on Sunday, myself and Brad Cochimilio. The time on Sunday, we are projected to be there around 8 o'clock at Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill. Wicked Sister on Monday, we're back at 6 p.m. on Eagle 95.1, and back here at Sports Center next week at the usual 9 o'clock. And hopefully don't have the late 10 o'clock start next week, opposed to like we had this week. Dave McCaig here, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Justin, I want to say thanks to you, though. I didn't forget for coming by, and I will see you tomorrow night at Northern.
I'll be there. It's good to come out tonight. Nice to talk Colts with everybody. See how everyone's really enthused and behind the team here. So I'll shovel off the bandwagon there, make sure there's some room for you fellas.
I didn't jump on the bandwagon, though.
You probably should.
I'm a realist, I like to say. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm not in the playoffs. The Steelers are not in the playoffs at all. So, without further ado, I want to give a little mention for the Super Bowl. Don't hesitate to reach out to Frank, maybe book a booth or book a table. We always have something here with the Game Sports Show for the Super Bowl. Great atmosphere here when it comes to Super Bowl. As yours truly predicted the Super Bowl to be the Rams and Chiefs. Rams winning. Justin picked the Colts and Saints. Colts winning. And Jamie picking the Colts and Saints with the Saints winning. So we'll see who gets right. This picture gets a little bit thinner after next week. You've been listening to the Twin Cities' only local regional national sports show. Dave McCaig here, signing off from Sportscenter Bar and Grill. Make sure, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.